Tanya and Terrell, this morning there are still many unanswered questions. For instance, what was the motive behind this killing spree? How did Romeo Nance choose his victims? And why did he travel to Texas? Here's what we do know. This morning, the search for 23-year-old Romeo Nance is over. Last night, U.S. Marshals located Nance southwest of San Antonio in Natalia, Texas. They say there was a confrontation and Nance shot himself and died. Meanwhile, back here, authorities are looking for a motive, but say Nance knew his victims. This newly obtained video shows one of the shootings police are investigating. The suspect in a red Toyota Camry speeding off after police say he wounded a man in the leg. It's one of 4 crime scenes allegedly connected to Nance. Police say Nance is suspected of shooting and killing 8 people, 7 of them in 2 houses in the 2200 block of West Acres Road in Joliet.
I've been a policeman 29 years. This is probably the worst crime scene I've ever been associated with.
The motive remains unclear this morning, but police say Nance knew the victims, and one of the homes is Nance's last known address. The bodies discovered after that residence was placed under police surveillance, following 2 shootings on Sunday, including
This is the case of the Joliet family murder. The Joliet family murder is one of the largest mass shooting ever to take place in Chicago, Illinois. This mass shooting stemmed from one young man that was unable to control his temper and had a history of violence encounters against others, including his own family. There were a lot of warning signs about Romeo Nance's behavior. At times, his mother would defend him, which in some case you cannot blame her. It's her child, and she saw the best in him, like all mothers do. Romeo's violent history started from when he was a teenager. At the time of the last incident that would claim 2 families that he was related to, the Esters and the Nance, he had been arrested over a half a dozen times at the age of 23. Romeo Nance was charged in October 2019 of robbing 2 people at knife point and with shooting a woman during an apparent road rage attack in January of 2023. There was also other incidents in between. Police record also showed that there was 2 houses on Acres Road in Chicago, Illinois that called the police on Romeo Nance at least 14 times since April 2023. In the armed robbery case, Romeo was accused of pressing a knife against the chest of one of the people outside a tobacco store. One victim told police they knew Romeo and he was arrested with the knife, according to records. Court records show he pleaded guilty to felony cannabis charge in the case, while the other counts of robbery and theft were dropped. He was granted time served for a 29-day jail sentence and also received 2 years probation. In the road rage shooting, a woman told police she was stopped at a red light on US 30 at Larkin Avenue when Romeo began honking from the car behind her, according to records. He then pulled alongside her and started yelling before throwing a water bottle at her car. The record states the woman called 911 and followed him to a Walgreens parking lot. As the woman followed him, Romeo fired shots until he lost her. 14 shell casings were recovered from several crime scenes connected to the incident, and a bullet hole was found in the driver's door of the woman's car. Another bullet smashed through a nearby home, striking the countertop and lodging into the kitchen wall, according to the records, which said a resident in the same home never never looked outside because she was scared. Police used cell phone records and cameras to track down Romeo. Police body cam video shows officer approach him as he sat in a black Ford sedan in the driveway of one of the homes on Acreage Road. Romeo is seen calmly stepping out of the car and is handcuffed by officers as a woman shouts at officers. Romeo then runs towards the street as the officers begin searching his car. Police tackle Romeo in the snow as another woman, apparently his mother, stepped out of the house and tried to order the police off her property, demanding to see a warrant. "Don't search anything on my property unless you have a warrant," the woman is heard telling officers. Romeo, pinned to the ground by the police, pled with officers to put him in a squad car. "My legs are tired," he say. "Get me off the floor, please." Minutes later, police pulled a back from the back seat of Romeo's car, the video show. Inside was a loaded semi-automatic pistol and 2 cartons of ammunition. As he was being taken to the police station, Romeo talked nearly non-stop during the 15 minutes trip, according to police and video camera. He took a keen interest in the police computer that pinned the license plate of passing cars and provide the criminal history of the registered owners. When the computer flashes an alert about the arrest records of the owner of a passing car, Romeo appeared stunned. "No wonder y'all know how to get up on a mother effer real quick," he stated. Obviously, Romeo needed a lot of help, and I don't know why he was let go so easily and not face prison time before his last incident that ultimately claimed 2 families' life that he was connected to. During the interview with police, Romeo Nance reportedly refused to answer questions. The interview was ended when he became increasingly agitated, according to police report. He was charged with felony counts of aggravated discharge of a weapon, aggravated unlawful use of a weapon, reckless discharge of aggravated assault. The case was still pending as of January 2024, when his final incident and one of the most horrific tragedies in Chicago, Illinois history would take place. On January 24, 2024, police in Joliet, Illinois responded to a call. At around 4:15 p.m., the predator, Romeo Nance, drove by a 42-year-old man who was getting items out of his car in the 200 block of Davis Street in Joliet. Nance briefly stopped and the two exchanged words before Nance drove on. After the man was crossed the street, Nance returned from the other direction and opened fire, striking the man in the leg before driving away. About 10 minutes later, the Will County Sheriff Office responded to the Pleasant Run apartment complex in Preston Heights, where officer discovered 28-year-old Toshi Bakor with a gunshot wound to the head. Bakor was transported to a local hospital where he later died from his injuries. Using surveillance footage from the shooting, the sheriff office was able to identify the predator and vehicle, but were unable to locate either. Deputies then set up a surveillance near Nance's home in the 2200 block of the West Acreage Road in Joliet at around midnight. After about 12 hours, deputies approached Romeo Nance's home and spotted blood outside and subsequently made entry. Inside, they found 47-year-old Tamika Nance and 35-year-old William Esther II dead of gunshot wound. The sheriff office then contacted the Joliet Police Department. Officers checked a second house on the same block because it was inhabited by some of Romeo Nance's family members. Inside, they found 37-year-old Christina Esther, 31-year-old Joshua Nance, 20-year-old Alexandra Nance, and 14-year-old Angel Nance, and 16-year-old Alnon Nance, all dead from gunshot wound. For unknown reason, Romeo then drove to South Texas, where police believe he stopped at a mall and acquired Texas license plates, which he put onto his vehicle to attempt to throw authorities off the rails. At around 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time the following day, U.S. Marshal located Romeo in Natalie, Texas. Romeo was then confronted by police at a gas station just outside of Natalie, and he fatally shot himself with a handgun during a standoff with police. All of the victims, except the injured 42-year-old man and bar car, were related to Romeo, although Although not blood related, police do believe that Barker was connected to Romeo in some way. Police also said that Romeo had a criminal history, which I detailed earlier. Shortly after the shooting, Kaylee Cleveland Singleton, a girlfriend of Romeo, was arrested and charged with felony obstruction of justice. Judge Davis Carlson ordered that she be placed on home confinement until further notice. On February 9, 2024, she pled not guilty to the charge. Unfortunately, there's so much about this case that we will never know. What was truly going on in Romeo's head? Why did he feel like he had to kill his whole family? Did they reject him in some way because of his past criminal history? It's just so much unanswered question, and unfortunately he took his life, so we will never know the truth or what was really going on. My praise and condolences goes out to the family members that lost their life. Nothing one can say or do that could justify him killing his whole family. He was a troubled young man, and unfortunately he never got the help that he needed. May those family members' soul rest in peace. Until next time on a Meaningful Talk Crime Doc, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch up with you guys later in the comment section.